Well, I'm doing a super random video at the end of the day. Random as in like completely unplanned. But I've heard from so many of you that have reached out to me and told me that you have had a really tough weekend and a really tough weekend because it was Mother's Day weekend. So I felt like I wouldn't be a good quality therapist if I didn't address a good demographic of our population that has a grievous holiday on Mother's Day or Father's Day. But let's specifically talk about Mother's Day because that's the feedback I've been getting as you all have been writing into me. I did a PSA, public service announcement, and mental health minute with CBS Austin about Mother's Day and how it can have different meanings for different people and how you can reparent yourself. And I got a lot of great feedback on that. And then I started realizing that a lot of you are still writing in and saying, not only was it difficult or was I having a hard time, like I cried all day, or, you know, some folks have mothers that grew up with severe mental health issues and they weren't being able to be present for them for one reason or another, maybe physically, but not emotionally and otherwise. Some folks have had issues with moms that allowed their children to be sexually assaulted or sexually abused, or with mothers who they're estranged from, who they're no contact anymore, or with mothers who deliberately favor other children. And although they're all adults, it still is painful for them because they feel that they'll never be good enough, or mothers that diminish and devalue and speak poorly to their adult children every chance they get, or sometimes they're completely on, sometimes they're completely off. They never know what they're gonna get. Or mothers that seem like the mother of the century to the public and are like monsters behind the scenes. So there's a lot of unfortunate scenarios in there. Very narcissistic mothers, mean mothers. And there are a lot of folks that are very fortunate or blessed to have really good quality moms and good quality experiences, or imperfect moms that maybe didn't do everything a certain way, but they really are still good people. But I want to speak to the segment of the population that is hurting, that feels wounded, that feels disappointed, that feels isolated, that feels rejected, because they don't have a Hallmark card to say, man, you really wounded me. You won't take responsibility for it. You won't even speak to me, or I won't speak to you, or you gave me up for adoption. You never gave me a reason. You never reached out. You know, you were a mother that was struggling with alcoholism, you know, or that, you know, physically abused me regularly, slapped, hit, you know, yelled at, talked down. It's a lot of really extreme scenarios. Or there's moms that are grieving because, you know, their children have passed away and it's a tough day, or because their children won't speak to them, not because they're abusive moms, but because maybe, you know, they're estranged for other reasons. So it's just, it can be a lot and it can be complicated. So I'm going to dedicate the rest of this week to our practice Instagram page, where we're going to put posts up about, you know, emotionally disconnected moms, or where there was abuse present, or addiction present, or adoption and or estranged, or there's no connection at all, or, you know, there's even some people that are like, I don't even know who my mom is because of the circumstances of my birth. So we're going to talk about the tough topics this week, and I want to do this to honor the people that are hurting in silence, or maybe that don't have people to reach out and say, hey, I know Mother's Day is probably tough for you. I hope you had a good day. Because sometimes people just need you to acknowledge it and not ignore their pain because you don't know what to say. Sometimes you can just call or text somebody and say, hey, how can I show up for you? And maybe they're okay and maybe they're not, but we need to have these tough conversations because there's not a Hallmark card for this, and there's not really commercials about this. There's not anything that says how to survive Mother's Day for people that have mean moms. And again, I'm not talking about imperfect human beings because we all have imperfections. I'm talking about people that chronically and willfully render harm to their child or their children repeatedly. So look out for the Instagram page. Pay attention to it this week. You'll see some posts about that because I want to nurture and lift up this segment of our population. And I hope that something that you see helps to comfort you and to help heal you and to let you know that you're not alone. And thank you for reaching out and letting me know how important this was to you. And even if you don't comment or like or share, I know you're watching just because of the conversations that you're having with me one-on-one, by message or in person. So take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. And one day at a time, hopefully we can help